And India is too big a market for NVIDIA to ignore.
It's definitely. And India's chip-making ambitions is real. There's opportunities for chip design in India. There's opportunities to build customized chips. A lot needs to be set up to be able to make that supply chain work. But India's IT minister, Ashwani Vaishnaw, wants to actually build chips by 2025. It could take 3 to 5 years, but it is a big bet, and it's something that they definitely should be looking. And there's already been over $1 billion in investment in India, especially on the AI mission.
You've said, Ray, opportunities for chip design in India would focus on customized chips, but a lot needs to be set up. And as you said there, the Indian IT minister is targeting the end of 2025 for India's first indigenous semiconductor chip. Is that achievable still? We're running out of time, aren't we? Or does India need more runway?
Oh, they're definitely going to need a little bit more runway, but you can always count on Jagat innovation, the cleverness and the ability to work with scarce resources to deliver something innovative, something India has always been able to do. If you look at the space program, it's running 1/10 the cost of SpaceX, 1/100th the cost of NASA. There's definitely ways to get around that, but there is some infrastructure that's required. The way the fabs work, the supply chains, the way you handle water, the power supply continuity and the business resiliency, all those things have to be in place for chips to be manufactured, especially the precision level of today's chips.
I've got to say, though, Ray, as an observer, progress has been stop-start in terms of building out the AI infrastructure within India. Adani paused discussions with Israel's Tower Semiconductor. Then Foxconn, that proposed $19.5 billion JV with Vedanta, that collapsed. And most recently, however, the JV semiconductor plant with HCL and Foxconn, that got the go-ahead. What does this tell you, and where do you think India ultimately is heading with its ambitions, just in terms of the commitments that it's got and then perhaps have been set aside and paused?
India has the opportunity to become a precision manufacturing powerhouse, but it has to put the basic steps in to be there. And those basic steps are power continuity, the ability to drive down the cost of power. That's probably the first thing. You're competing around the world for 6 to 7 cents per kilowatt hour or less. That has to be there at a constant state. The other piece that's important is really the supply chain and the network of that Foxconn normally brings to a market. They've got to bring those same skill sets. You've seen how hard it is, even in the U.S., to build a plant in Scottsdale or Phoenix in that area. It's not an easy thing to do. And for whatever reason, the Koreans and the Taiwanese and the Chinese are the ones that have figured out how to do it. But it is not easy.
Certainly isn't. And then there's the politics as well, and the trade war, which we have a truce of sorts. President Trump has made it clear that he didn't want Apple building more iPhone manufacturing in India. So even if NVIDIA did make a commercial decision to double down in the country, would the current environment and US tariff policy be a deal breaker for NVIDIA trying to do so?
Not necessarily so. I think the chips made in India would go to different geographic locations, and the chips that were coming from Taiwan, it would really depend on arbitrage in terms of what the tariff rates are going to be. If it's just 10% to get into the U.S. Across the board, then you'll have a different type of approach. We still haven't seen what's coming from the Taiwan trade deal yet. We haven't heard back. Those trade deals are still being discussed. So I believe that you'll see something that will manage the loopholes that might occur putting chips through India as putting chips through Taiwan as well.
See Jensen there showing off some interesting products. It's already got a strong demographic dividend, India, but what more does India needs to do, Ray, in terms of making the regulatory, the taxation, the investment environment more conducive for multinationals like NVIDIA to expand?
Well, it's a long-term investment in the hardware chip ecosystem. It's a long-term investment in lithography. It's a long-term investment in chip design. That all has to be in place. So that's really the part that has to be there. So, and I think there are three things that, we have to understand. Intelligence is doubling every 7 months. And so the ability to have high capacity data centers is going to be needed. And so the data center capacity is not necessarily enough yet in India. You're going to have to keep building more data centers. Power was the other one that we talked about. But I think the third thing is training the talent to be able to actually work on the hardware.
Exactly, Ray. I'm so glad you mentioned that, because India is producing no shortage of talented programmers, designers and engineers, potentially the next Sundars or Satyas. But is India losing that top tech talent to Silicon Valley and elsewhere? And what then can be done to reverse that brain drain?
I actually think India is not losing that talent. In fact, what's actually happening is we see the rise of GCCs. A GCC is being built every 4 days in India. These global company centers are bringing talent in the U.S. back into India. So if you were an individual that is in their mid-50s, you came to the U.S. on an H-1B visa, you succeeded, your kids have graduated, you've paid off your home, and you get an offer to come back to India and make U.S. salary for the next 3 to 4 years, you're definitely not saying yes. It's an opportunity to come back. It's an opportunity to take care of your elder parents, and it's an opportunity to contribute to the Indian economy. And so we see a good number of talent heading back to India at this moment.
Thanks for that, Ray. And how promising is India's IT and AI startup ecosystem? And do you see founders there innovating beyond IT services and e-commerce and really pushing the boundaries now into advanced manufacturing?
We see some of it. It isn't necessarily as growing as it should be. A lot of the investment that's going into the Middle East is basically relying on talent from India and the subcontinent. And you're basically seeing that talent go into Dubai, going into Qatar and Riyadh. And those are the areas where we're seeing that growth. But you will see that move back and forth between India and the Middle East. I think those ties are going to continue to grow over time.